In 1998, a road car with no turbochargers, no hybrid system, and no active launch control reached 240.14 miles per hour. It was not built by a century-old luxury brand. It was the first road car created by a Formula One racing company. And the remarkable part is that outright speed was never the main goal. This is the story of the McLaren F1, a car designed by asking one dangerous question. What happens if an elite racing team ignores convention and builds the ultimate road car from a clean sheet? The idea began in 1988. According to McLaren, 4 of its racing directors were waiting for a flight home from Milan when the conversation turned to the company's future. McLaren had already proved itself in competition. Now, it wanted to bring the same obsession with weight, packaging, and driver focus to the road. Gordon Murray became the project's architect. His brief was not to chase one headline number or copy an existing supercar. The F1 had to be compact, light, usable, and intensely connected to its driver. Every decision would be judged against that philosophy. The most visible decision was the seating layout. Instead of placing the driver on the left or right, McLaren put the driver in the center. 2 passenger seats sat slightly behind, one on each side. The arrangement gave the driver a symmetrical view and eliminated the compromises created by designing separate left and right-hand drive cars. It also made every trip feel like the cockpit of a racing machine, without turning the car into a one-seat toy. The structure was just as radical. McLaren says the F1 was the first road car built around a carbon-fibre monocoque. Today, carbon tubs are expected in the most expensive supercars. In the early 1990s, using one for a production road car was a revolution. The shell could be extremely stiff without carrying the weight of a traditional metal structure. Weight mattered everywhere. The doors opened upward, the body was tightly wrapped around the cabin, and even luggage was given purpose-built compartments. The goal was not luxury through mass, it was luxury through intelligent engineering. Then came the engine. McLaren chose a naturally aspirated V12 built by BMW Motorsport. There were no turbochargers to inflate the output and no electric motors to disguise delay. The engine delivered more than 600 horsepower with immediate response, and McLaren lined parts of the engine bay with gold foil to protect surrounding components from heat. The gold looked extravagant, but its purpose was entirely functional. Only 106 examples of the F1 family were produced, including road cars, prototypes, and racing versions. That number helps explain the car's value today, but rarity alone is not what created the legend. The design had to prove itself. On March 31, 1998, driver Andy Wallace took McLaren's XP5 prototype to the Era Lessien test track in Germany. The car reached 240.14 miles per hour. McLaren says that run made it the fastest production car of its era, and the F1 still holds the company's record as the fastest naturally aspirated road car. Think about what that means. Modern cars use massive power, turbocharging, electric assistance, and complex aerodynamics to chase similar numbers. The F1 did it with a compact body, a manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive, and a naturally aspirated engine. The speed was not a trick added at the end. It emerged from low mass, clean aerodynamics, and relentless attention to detail. But the F1's most convincing test did not happen on a top-speed runway. It happened at Le Mans. McLaren never intended the road car to become a racer. Customers insisted. The company developed the F1 GTR, yet the transformation was surprisingly modest. McLaren says the racing version was actually restricted to less than 600 horsepower, making it slightly less powerful than the road car. It received the required safety equipment, revised suspension details, stronger brakes, and only 1 day of wind tunnel development. In 1995, 7 F1 GTRs started the 24 hours of Le Mans. Rain fell for 16 of the 24 hours. Faster prototype class cars were expected to dominate, while McLaren was entering the race for the first time. Then the impossible happened. The number 59 F1 GTR won the race overall. Other McLarens finished 3rd, 4th, 5th and 13th. A road car that had been reluctantly converted for competition defeated machines designed specifically for endurance racing. McLaren had won Le Mans on its first attempt. That result changed how the F1 was understood. The car was not merely an expensive engineering exercise or a record-setting missile. Its basic architecture was strong enough to survive a full day at racing speed in terrible weather and win the world's most famous endurance race. The later F1 LM and long-tail racing versions pushed the idea further, but the original philosophy remained clear. Remove unnecessary weight, place the driver at the center, and let engineering serve the experience. McLaren says only 106 F1 road and race cars were built. When one reaches auction, it has sold for as much as about $20.5 million. Yet the price is only the final symptom of what made the car special. Collectors are not simply buying speed. They are buying a moment when a racing team was allowed to rethink the road car without being trapped by convention. The McLaren F1 changed the template for the modern hypercar. Carbon fiber structures became a benchmark. Racing technology moved more aggressively into road cars. Limited production became part of the appeal. But even today, almost no manufacturer has repeated the complete formula. 3 seats, a central driver, a manual gearbox, a naturally aspirated V12, and an outright Le Mans victory. The F1's greatest achievement was not 240 miles per hour. It was proving that speed, usability, and engineering purity did not have to be separate ideas. Which part defines the McLaren F1 for you? The central driving position, the BMW V12, the top speed record, or the Le Mans victory? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to Echoes of Cars for more stories behind the machines that changed automotive history.